Hey everyone, it's Glenn Sanford, Millionaire Minute. This is actually the first video that I'm going to be doing. I did an overview video yesterday, posted that up. This is going to be the first video. So I'm going to talk a little bit today about your big why. And what I mean by that, your big why, this is going to be really your major driver. What's your major driver? Another way to put it is, what gets you up early in the morning? What keeps you up late at night? What is it that's keeping you motivated? And until you figure out your big why, a lot of times success might elude you. And what I mean by that is that success is really kind of it's an obsessive compulsive behavior, meaning that most successful people have been during their momentum stage of their career were really obsessive individuals, obsessed with achieving their major goals that ultimately got them to where they are today. And so the thing that I want you to do is I want you to figure out how you can become sort of obsessed with whatever it is that you'd like to do, but it still you still don't have that major drive. So in business, in real estate, in your real estate practice, you're going to have to figure out what ultimately is going to get you motivated, get you out of bed in the morning, have you working on different projects in the evening, and ultimately, move you forward. So your big why, what's your major driver? And let me give you an example. When I grew up, when I was younger, I was fortunate enough that I started my infancy in what would be, I think it was a single-wide manufactured home in northern Alberta. We moved from there to Abbotsford, British Columbia. Similar circumstances. At the time, I didn't recognize that I was living in what would be considered to be kind of the lower end of sort of the income spectrum. My dad, though, was an entrepreneur. He had invested money that he had earned along with his brother, my uncle, into a granola manufacturing company. They were partners with my grandfather in a honey production or bee business in northern Alberta, but they pooled their money. They ended up investing it into a granola manufacturing company. They grew that from their original $8,000 investment up to until a point in time where we had 16% of the cereal market in Canada. We actually ended up selling it for what would be multi-millions of dollars to Kellogg's back in about 1978, 79. And then and at that point in time we had moved, I went from single-wide manufactured home, living in a trailer park early on in my life, to living in the second largest home at the time in the lower mainland of British Columbia. And then we sold that, moved to Oklahoma, and we proceeded to lose all that money again and in the oil and gas business. So by the time I graduated high school, not too long after that, basically all that money we went into dry holes or the oil business. In 1980, the oil business collapsed, and so I went from sort of rags to riches to some extent, not really rags, but I had tasted success. I knew what the trappings of a larger home was, the ability to sort of entertain, have friends over, those types of things. And so that became a major driver in my life, of having seen and tasted success, and then having seen that go away. So for me, one of my major drivers was to get back there. So this has been, one of my, having grown up in an entrepreneur family, building businesses, seeing the mistakes and the positive things that come out of that. So that became one of my major drivers. And ultimately, I wanted to prove myself. And so when you get motivated, one of the things is that you want to be uncomfortable with average. If you get comfortable with average, and there's nothing wrong with being comfortable with average, it just probably means that you're not going to maybe achieve the success that maybe other people's achieve. But if you're uncomfortable with average, you're going to do the things that are necessary, even when you don't want to ultimately achieve what you want to ultimately achieve. So it turns out that you become you're not satisfied with good. You're proving that you can do it, and to some extent, there's a degree of being sort of mad about the circumstances that you find yourself in, and your desire to sort of take it to the next level, to figure out, how do I go from here to there? How do I become truly successful at this thing that I'm doing? In this case, we're talking about the your real estate business. And so you really start to really think about it. You think about it in an obsessed way. You go, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to play this game to win. How am I going to win? How am I going to put myself in a position to ultimately take an unfair market share inside of my market, or inside of my business? How am I going to scale it? Am I going to be willing to put the work in? And this comes back to the big why, sort of the big obsession, the big desire to win, to play this game of business, of life, in a major way, to ultimately drive you towards success. So first thing is, get that big why. Figure out what your big why is. Figure out how to get mad at your current circumstances so that you become obsessed about doing the things that's necessary to ultimately achieve success. And if you can do that first piece of the puzzle, then you can start to go and set your big goals. You can do the things that ultimately is going to drive your business forward. So today, we talked a little bit about your big why, what's your major driver, how you can maybe get motivated, and hopefully you can take a little bit of this today and use it as a way to kind of move your business forward, to put your mind in a different mindset, and from that different mindset, be obsessed about competition, be obsessed about winning, be obsessed about doing more of the right things, be obsessed about being willing to make mistakes, make lots of mistakes, change those mistakes for the better so that you know what not to do in order to ultimately achieve true success in business, and for that matter in life. So again, this is Glenn Sanford, founder and CEO of eXp Realty, and this has been your Millionaire Minute. Thanks so much. Have a great day.